So I'm about to answer these rapid fire questions for you again. I'm going to go through the list and tell you just my honest opinion based off of the knowledge that's borrowed from God and my intuition and what's going on and basically how I feel. And right now I feel extra good. Actually, today it's taken me a while to start to do this video because I was consuming overconsumption in my ovulation phase, and one of the things I talk about is just cycle syncing and the importance of cycle syncing so that you could align with earth, with your feminine nature to flow in the way that you're supposed to flow, so that you feel rested, you feel rejuvenated, you don't feel like your output or your production is transactional with your worth. And I think that's important for a lot of women to fall into that rhythm. But first, going back to yourself and understanding what your cycle look like, and then aligning, just everything you do with, then you realize that we really all should be flowing. With that being said, though, we're gonna get into the first question. Is you've gone through powerful transformation yourself. Who were you before you became this version of you? Now, I'd made this video before and answered it, so I kind of know what I'm gonna say. But one of the things that came up the most would be the fact that before this I was very egotistical, but not in the way of like shitting on him. Man, I just shitting. No, not in that way. It was more so in a way where I took this knowledge that was borrowed from God, my intuition that got downloaded into me, which is the self-mastery method. Which is pretty much, the self-mastery method is just the framework I use throughout all my programs. It's the key to self-mastery method is really the key to understanding who you are before all your experiences in life told you who to be, right? It's all about relearning how to think instead of being programmed by your environment on what to think. All right. And so with this knowledge being so heavy for me, I think where I was stuck in just this loop of consuming information and having all this information and being justified by this information, that it made me more stagnant. I was also, one of the things I brought up too is the fact that I understood my profile, in that I understand when I'm in alignment or not, which we're probably going to get to here in a second. And my alignment pointer for me, because it's different for everybody, is when I'm in alignment, I feel success. When I'm not in alignment, I feel bitter. And my alignment success for me comes from the credibility, from being seen, from being invited into spaces. I'm not an initiator. Okay. And so what I find was that I was in this loop where I was afraid to be seen. Not really so much. You're never really afraid to be seen or afraid to be perceived, but you're afraid of other people's opinion, right? Because you tend, especially like people like me who's afraid to be perceived, it does have to do with just this people pleasing. And I talk about it where you have like a more weaker masculine energy, and so you kind of lean on other people to justify your identity and hold your form versus yourself, because that masculine energy in you, I don't like to use the word toxic, but it doesn't feel safe enough, or you don't trust it enough to hold your form. Okay. And so that what was happening, in that I was afraid to be perceived, but being perceived was how I felt successful. So what I would do is, every time I got to the point where I would do the walk, I would come up with a good strategy, because I'm really good at strategizing. And so I come up with this good strategy, stick to my strategy, start to do it. It starts to gain momentum. And as soon as it's time for me to be seen, I get to the cusp of it where I feel successful. But then as soon as the light hit me, I run away. And that goes to show you, like, when you're leveling up too, it goes into the question of how does your nervous system react to trauma? Because that's usually how you're going to react to leveling up into a new space, because that's a new thermostat, right? And so for me, why I realized that I would go into this thing where, like, I would like do this freeze and people pleasing type stuff, which is what they call freeze and fawn. So I had a mixture of both of them. Okay, so that's the first question. That was a lot. That was loaded. So I hope somebody drop from there. If you got any questions, just drop it down below in the comments and I'm going to respond to you.